The sun was shining in the old ruins. Amy Rose was looking at pebbles and various things. She found it very interesting. Then Shadow arrived, looking as grumpy as ever. He told Amy that she was looking at silly nonsense. Amy got upset and almost cried. Suddenly, Sonic zoomed in. He saw that Shadow had upset Amy. Sonic stood next to Amy to protect her. He looked at Shadow angrily. Sonic was brave and wasn't afraid of Shadow. Sonic didn't say anything, but Shadow understood that it wasn't nice to do that. Amy hid behind Sonic, feeling safer. She looked at Sonic and smiled. Shadow thought for a moment and ran away. Sonic turned to Amy and smiled too. He gestured to her that everything was okay. Amy was happy. Sonic always protected his friends because that's what real boys do. He wanted Amy to be cheerful again. Sonic wandered around with Amy for a little longer, showing her interesting things. Amy started laughing again. She felt good being near Sonic. She knew he wouldn't hurt her. Amy loved Sonic very much, and Shadow ran off, wondering why Sonic was so angry at him because of some girl. He was used to doing whatever he wanted and didn't think about others. But Sonic had stopped him. Shadow didn't like that. Sonic saw that Amy was happy again and sped off on his own errands. Amy watched him go, feeling very grateful to Sonic. From a distance, Shadow saw how Sonic took care of his friends. He hadn't understood it before. He thought caring about someone was silly. But Sonic did it differently, bravely. Sonic ran very fast. He wasn't thinking about Shadow watching him. He was just helping someone weaker. That was the right thing to do. Amy spent a long time walking around the ruins, remembering how Sonic had protected her. She kept dreaming that Sonic would love her too, but she didn't know that Sonic liked other boys. Shadow went far away but was still thinking about Sonic. He had never seen anyone protect their friends like that. Maybe it really was what a real boy should do. Be kind and protect those who are being hurt? He had never thought about it that way. Then Sonic and Shadow met again when they were fighting the bad Dr. Eggman. Amy got into trouble again and Shadow pushed her out of the way so she wouldn't get hurt, taking the hit himself. Sonic saw this and was surprised. Maybe Shadow wasn't so bad after all. When it was all over, Sonic went up to Shadow and nodded. It meant, "Thank you." Shadow nodded slightly too. Maybe they were starting to understand each other a little better. Amy watched them, not understanding what was happening. She loved Sonic and wanted to be with him, but Sonic just wanted to help his friends. Sonic sped off again. New adventures were waiting for him. He was kind and brave, and Shadow stayed standing and thinking. Maybe protecting others wasn't so bad after all. Amy watched Sonic go for a long time. She really wanted him to notice her, but Sonic was always in a hurry. She didn't know that Sonic's heart beat differently when Shadow was near, even though they often argued. Shadow also looked in the direction Sonic had run. He didn't understand why that blue hedgehog was so strange. One minute he was angry at him, the next he was helping others. But in that moment when Shadow protected Amy, he felt something new. It felt like respect for himself? Sonic was already far away, racing towards new adventures at the speed of light. He wasn't thinking about Shadow or about Shadow protecting Amy. For him, it was important to help everyone who needed it. That was his rule. Amy sighed and went back to looking for interesting things in the ruins. She hoped that someday Sonic would understand how much she loved him. But she didn't see how sometimes Sonic would secretly look at Shadow, and in his eyes there was a completely different feeling. Not friendship. Shadow remained standing. Many different thoughts were in his head. He didn't understand these strange feelings that sometimes arose when Sonic was near. It wasn't just anger or rivalry. Maybe he was starting to understand something too? But he didn't want to admit it even to himself. Sonic, Amy, and Shadow continued their adventures, each with their own thoughts and feelings. Amy dreamed of Sonic's love. Sonic just wanted to help everyone, and Shadow was trying to understand himself and his strange relationship with that cocky blue hedgehog. Sometimes Sonic and Shadow would meet again, and there was a new, strange connection between them. They still argued and competed, but sometimes a different look would pass between them, something they both tried to ignore. Amy didn't see it. She was too busy with her love for Sonic. Shadow thought more and more about that time he protected Amy. He even liked the feeling a little, helping someone. It wasn't as awful as he had thought before. Maybe Sonic was right and real boys should protect others. Sonic continued to run and save the world. He was happy when his friends were safe and smiling. He didn't notice how sometimes Shadow would look at him with a long gaze that wasn't angry. Amy continued to hope. She believed that one day Sonic would see how good she was and how much she loved him. She didn't know that Sonic had a completely different story in his heart, a story where there wasn't room for pink dresses and girls confessing their love. And so their adventures continued. Sonic ran, Shadow frowned and sometimes helped, and Amy dreamed. And none of them knew that new feelings and understandings were growing in their hearts, feelings that could change everything.